What's going on YouTube? This is Regular Ravens fan coming back at y'all with another video. As I always say, trust your eyes. And I always tell people, trust your eyes. And everybody who's watching any of my videos, y'all know my beef is with the national media and the fake narratives that they put on players. Namely, Lamar Jackson. So, it's not just regular Ravens fan telling you all this. I hear people coming at me, and some of the, people like to come at me and say, hey, you just a homer. Lamar Jackson can't do this, can't do that. He's only won one playoff game, yada, yada, yada. Well, on your screen right now, you have Mike Florio, you have Chris Sims. Chris Sims, ex-quarterback, and we all know who his dad was, Phil Sims. So, this is the truth about the narrative and as it pertains to Lamar Jackson. This is what regular Ravens fan is fighting against. It's not just me saying it, people. So I want you to hear from a real evaluator, Chris Sims, who evaluates quarterbacks. I just want to play this for y'all and think about the things that regular Ravens fan has said about Lamar Jackson. And start opening your eyes to this kid. But I want you to hear this. You got to hear this.
Chris, let me say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the reasons he went 32nd, we've talked about this before, but let me emphasize it right here.
Right.
One of the reasons he went 32nd, he didn't have an agent fighting back against whatever narratives the agents who represent the other quarterbacks were throwing out there to pump their guys up and knock him down.
Did you hear that word, people? The narratives that they were putting out there to pump these other guys up and knock Lamar Jackson down. Haven't you heard that from regular Ravens fan? So I tell you people, trust your eyes when you watch this game. They use the narratives to pump one guy up, and then they'll turn around and use a narrative to knock one guy down. But I'm going to keep playing this because I want y'all to hear everything as they lay it out there.
Somebody who is both defending you against that crap, and, it doesn't hurt to be throwing some of it back at some of these other guys.
Sure.
And maybe you do end up higher than 32nd, and maybe you're not the fifth quarterback taken in 2018.
No, I think there's that's a real thing. I mean, there's no doubt. There was a faction of people in the NFL who were anti-Lamar Jackson, as I've told you, and people that pushed back against me at the owners' meeting that year when I made him the #1 quarterback originally. It was constant. It bothered me. And of course, I know Bill Polian made those comments, but there was, a number of people out throughout the NFL where, it just was almost disrespectful to him that way. And you're right, there was nobody there to fight against the narrative other than a few guys like me on TV and on the internet that were going, wait, what are you looking at? This guy is special. He's the real deal.
What are you looking at? This guy's special. He's the real deal. Did you hear what Chris Sims said? What are you looking at? And that's what regular Ravens fan been trying to tell people. Trust your eyes. You cannot tell me you watch Lamar Jackson play and you see a bad football player. What you see is a football player playing quarterback. That's what you see. But again, as he said, the narrative. Listen to the words, people. This is not just regular Ravens fan who has said it over and over and over again, who has tried to preach it over and over and over again. But I'm going to keep playing it.
Now, the other thing I always get, Mike, too, is this when I talk about Lamar contract. Well, he's going to slow down. He's not going to be able to run like this forever. I know that. He won't be able to run like this forever. But it's not going to fall off a cliff here out of nowhere in the next 3 to 4 years. It's not. He'll slow down, but he's still going to be one of the fastest guys on the field as he slows down. He will. He does a pretty damn good job, too, when you break him down about not taking a huge number of big hits. He's very slippery that way. But I don't look at it, too, to where, Baltimore in 3 years is going to have to change their offense because he won't be able to have the threat of the run anymore. No, maybe it won't be, as big of a threat or as often, but that's still going to be there. He's going to be 4 years down the line, and I promise you, if we made him run a 40, he'll still be able to run a high 4.4, and that's damn dangerous at quarterback and special. And, of course, he's growing as a passer, too. And the less and less...
And that's what I've been trying to tell people. That's exactly what I've been trying to tell people. Other guys on TV that you may watch, they act like, and I'm going to say some things, and you all going to know what I'm talking about. When I evaluate a quarterback, it's about the way they fling that football. Or Lamar Jackson is incredibly exciting and electric as a runner. As if the kid can't throw. And then they act like if he can't run, he can't play football. I got a graphic I want to show you all. And this is going to shock you all real quick. But I got a graphic I want to show you. So let regular Ravens fan put something out there right now. Right? So what we have on the screen right here is NFL career leaders in passing completion percentage. So I want y'all to see who's at number 20. And that's going to be Thomas Brady, the GOAT, who we all have just watched the Super Bowl, so we all can admit Tom Brady is the GOAT. Now, Tom Brady has never been able to run like Lamar Jackson, so we know that all of Tom Brady's quarterbacking accomplishments comes from his mind and his ability to fling that football, as some others out there in the world so eloquently put it, right? Tom Brady's career passing completion percentage, which includes all of his games with Gronk, all of his games with Randy Moss, all of his games throwing the ball to Shane Ravine and Deion Lewis and Deion Branch and all of these guys that we watch him win with, and even going up to Tampa Bay and throwing with those guys, Tom Brady's career completion percentage is 64.0. This is Lamar Jackson's career completion percentage. That's it, right there in front of your face. In 3 years, granted, he has not played 20 years like Tom Brady, but in no point in time in Tom Brady's 20 years has he ever been able to run like a Lamar Jackson. And look at Lamar Jackson's career completion percentage. This is Lamar Jackson, people. Age 21, yes, it was 58.2. He didn't play a whole season. Age 22, unanimous MVP. That's what all those stars and pluses is. Unanimous MVP and setting all kinds of records. 66.1. Last year, the year that everybody's now people on TV talk about, oh, he regressed. He's at 64.4. For a career, he's averaging 64.0. And for a career, the GOAT is averaging 64.0. So if Lamar Jackson can't throw, people, if he can't complete passes, if he's not a good quarterback, if he can't fling that football, how in the world do you explain a quarterback who does not play in a system that throws screen passes? Because the Baltimore Ravens have never had a screen passing game offense, and we all know that. And we all know that Tom Brady in his career has thrown a lot of screen passes. For those of you out there who don't know, who don't understand how to trust your eyes, screen passes are high percentage passes. Passes down the field are low percentage passes, meaning one is easier to complete, one is harder to complete. The bulk of Lamar Jackson's passes are down the field, whether they're the middle or the outside, we can debate that another day, but his passes are down the field. And we all know he doesn't have a bona fide number one. But these are the completion percentages, people. So the numbers that they try to use to make the fake narrative about Lamar Jackson don't back up the narrative. Again, Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson. Regular Ravens fan didn't make this up. This is what this is. You can go look this up yourself, people. That's Lamar Jackson. So when we talk about him being able to throw, and keep in mind, he's only played 3 years. He's gotten better. Yes, he went down a little bit in 2020. But he's gotten better as a passer. And he's only 23 years old, going on 24 years old, people. He hasn't even seen it all yet. He hasn't even seen every NFL defense yet. He hasn't been in situations over and over and over again yet to have mistakes to learn from over and over and over again yet. So what is he going to be at 7 years down the road? I try to explain this to people all the time. All mobile quarterbacks have the built-in advantage of being able to use their God-given skills and abilities to get out of trouble when maybe they can't figure it all out as well with their legs. But as they get older, they all develop into great passers. Steve Young did it. John Elway did it. Randall Cunningham did it. Mike Vick did it. They've all done it. Trust your eyes, people. Go back and look at the history of this league. Russell Wilson has done it. Everyone does it that's mobile. Because while they can run young, they learn and they learn and they see it. And they see it. And all of those defenses that may have confused them and caused them to get out of the pocket, now they know what they're about and they can throw through it. So that's what Lamar Jackson's going to do when he get older. He's not going to not be able to run and then won't be able to play football. He's going to start to slow down as he gets older. But he's going to be able to anticipate more. You know, I try to explain to people, Pat Mahomes does not really Pat Mahomes is not one of these quarterbacks who sits there in the pocket and goes through all of his reads within 4 to 5 seconds. Pat Mahomes actually holds the ball a lot. He actually throws the ball into sometimes double and triple coverage, but he has playmakers all around him that make it easier, which is why he took less money. Pat Mahomes didn't take less money because he's a great guy. Pat Mahomes took less money to keep those great weapons around him. That's really what makes a quarterback. Really, what makes most quarterbacks in the league is what's around them. You have a few special ones like a Lamar Jackson who can actually make the things around him as opposed to the things around him making him. So this is what regular Ravens fan wants you all to understand. I wanted you to see what Chris Sims had to say. Because Chris Sims evaluates quarterbacks every single year before the draft, and he's usually spot on. There's a few guys out there, some of them might be named Gottlieb, right? This guy has always came out on TV. I take Sam Darnold over Lamar Jackson because it's the long game. It's the long game. You play the long game. Well, right now the Jets are trying to trade Sam Darnold. That's what's happening. And then the excuse, you know what the excuse is? They haven't built around him. They don't have anything around him. Well, what did they really build around Lamar? They really didn't build too much around Lamar. They just put in a system that he can play. But they didn't really build this juggernaut around him. They didn't insulate him like a Baker Mayfield. They didn't insulate him like that. He's not playing with great wide receivers who have already established themselves in this league. As a matter of fact, Baker Mayfield may have better weapons than Pat Mahomes when you look at the totality of them. Both of them came into good situations with ready-made players around them who had already cut their teeth in this league, but Lamar Jackson is playing with guys who are trying to grow with him. His best receiver came in the draft with him. His best receiver is a tight end, that's why I say that. His number one wide receiver came in the draft after him. His top 2 wide receivers came in the draft after him. He's not playing with a lot of older guys out there that have already been established and are great in this league as established players. So I bring these videos to you all because I ask you all to trust your eyes. Yes, I am a Ravens fan. That doesn't make me a homer. Dak Prescott deserved every bit of his contract. You know why Dak Prescott deserved his contract? Because Dak Prescott showed the Cowboys, who didn't want to pay him initially, and remember they franchise tagged him last year. He showed them, look what y'all are without me. With all of these things around me that the national media who built the fake narratives and said I wasn't that good, it wasn't me, it was Zeke, and it was all these guys around me. Well, look at what happened when all you did was subtracted me from the equation. They fell on their face. So he won. He's worth every penny of his contract. Deshaun Watson, you took my best wide receiver from me. My security blanket, so to speak. I went out there and I ripped the league up passing that football. And I ask you people this, because they always talk about Lamar Jackson. What has Matt Stafford won in this league? How many playoff games has Matt Stafford won? Because Matt Stafford has gotten, I think, 2 good contracts so far. And he's a former number one overall pick, right? Lamar Jackson was drafted number 32. Matthew Stafford is a former number 1 overall pick. Matthew Stafford has not won 1 playoff game in this NFL yet. No one ever says that he doesn't deserve his money. No one ever says he isn't a good quarterback. He had Megatron, for crying out loud. Megatron. Carson Wentz, the former number 1 overall pick, traded. A second-round pick basically came in and took his job. Again, people, start trusting your eyes, because these people on TV, they will tell you so many lies. Carson Wentz is a great quarterback. He is so great that his team traded him away after they signed him. So it wasn't because they couldn't get a contract. They traded him away because they have someone better, someone more athletic, someone more of a leader. That's why they traded him away. So when you talk about Lamar Jackson and you hear people say he can't throw, I want you all to tell them, while I watched the video from regular Ravens fan who showed me Lamar Jackson's career completion percentage is exactly the same as the GOAT, Tom Brady's career completion percentage. Granted, Brady has played more years, granted, but Brady doesn't run like Lamar. And they say Lamar can't throw. So if you think about it, Lamar Jackson's completion percentage should be down in the 50s. It should not be equal to Tom Brady's. When Tom Brady has amassed his great completion percentage by playing with sure-handed receivers such as Wes Welker and Julian Edelman and Gronkowski and Randy Moss and Deion Branch and on and on and on and on and on, throwing screen passes to Deion Lewis and Shane Vereen, and playing with a defensive-minded coach who's always gotten the ball back for him. I'm not making this up, people. I'm not making this up. And I want you to look right above Tom Brady. Mitchell Trubisky, right? You know why Mitchell Trubisky is there? Because he doesn't take chances with the football. Mitchell Trubisky's main problem is he's afraid to take chances with the football. And my point in showing you these completion percentages is to show you that these stats and numbers really don't mean a thing. That's my biggest point. My biggest point is when you turn on that TV and you watch a football game, if somebody jumps off that screen to you, making plays, forget about the stats, people. That's a football player. That's a guy. That's what that is. That's a guy. When you watch Jalen Hurts come in last year for Carson Wentz, that's a football player. When you watch Alex Smith be berated and just traded all around and come back from a torn up leg and lead his team to the playoffs and play football, that's a guy. That's a football player, people. Yeah, Alex Smith. I'm an Alex Smith fan because he's a football player. It's not just a Lamar Jackson fan. There's plenty of good quarterbacks out there. But these narratives, we've got to kill them, people. And this is regular Ravens fan. Ravens for life. And we out here.